How's it going, guys? It's Rev here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're talking about e-com Facebook marketing structure. So this is a very simple startup structure for developing and setting up your Facebook marketing for the first time, or more so for beginners. But that's not to say that even if you're intermediate to advanced with your Facebook marketing that you can't use this as a fresh perspective more than anything. Now, before we get started, a full disclaimer, please use these strategies at your own risk. I think more than anything, I can give you the keys to my vehicle, but how you drive it is going to be totally different to me. So taking that into account, if you do need help, if you want a free chat, by all means reach out, message me on Facebook, and I'm happy to go over what you're actually doing and we'll go from there. Otherwise, let's get into it. Okay, so where we're going to start with this is very simply I'm going to show you how to set up a conversion purchase campaign straight to your e-commerce website. I think most of you out there are going to be using either Shopify, WooCommerce, and some other ones out there as well. There's no reason you can't use a landing page type builder funnel as well, like your ClickFunnels, lead pages, and everything in between. You're just going to have slightly different ways to set up your pixels and your conversion events to actually optimize your conversion campaign for. So what I'm going to assume right now is that you've got a Facebook pixel installed. If you don't know how to do that, you can Google that, you can YouTube that. There's going to be videos all around on how to do that properly. That's fine. And then you'll also have to set up a few conversion events. So I think that's where we'll start, is to ensure that you have the right conversion event set up. So from here, essentially where we would navigate to is, this is obviously your ads manager, the dashboard. We're using one of my clients' accounts at the moment, Yummy Rum, and you should definitely get some rum if you're into wonderful banana rum. Very, very tantalizing flavor. So within this dashboard, you hover over Ads Manager, you go over to Custom Conversions. I'm going to bring that up as a different tab. And this is one thing that I would set first before you actually move into setting up the campaign itself. You've got to have these set up. So let's ensure that we've got the right one here. That's going to load. Cool. So custom conversion here. Now, most of the time when you integrate your Facebook account and your Facebook pixel with a Shopify website, it automatically creates these conversions for you. So as an example, you'll have certain data sources here that will track all of your events, like these ones here, and it'll track your page views, how many people have added to the cart, how many people have viewed the content, how many people have initiated the checkout, how many people have added their payment info, and below that should also be how many people have purchased. But assuming that you don't have that, this is going to be your workaround. As you click Create Custom Conversion, and you would have your pixel installed on your website, as we ascertained earlier. You would put in the URL of the thank you page that people fall on after purchasing. Okay, that's how we would create a purchase custom conversion. So what you would need to do is do a dummy run through your online store, pay for something. When you hit the thank you page of that customer journey, when you do it through your own store, copy the URL that's in the address bar itself, and you will paste it in here. Okay, so then you paste it in here. You'll name it, something like purchases, and you would select the category. Very important that you select the category, and the category is going to be purchase. Now, this is optional, but I would, if you can, if it's just one product that you're selling, or like an around about very similar priced products that you're selling, then put an average value in here at the very least. But if you've got like 60 products, don't bother putting anything in here. But if it's like 1 or 2 products, then put the average of the value of that product in there. It's just going to give you a snapshot of your return on ad spend when we look at the metrics a little bit later on. Okay. Then we would click Create. We're not going to do that because I've already got a custom conversion that's in here. Well, one that came with the Shopify website of this particular client, and that would come up here. So then we go back through and we actually start building a campaign. So all campaigns start within this wonderful green button called Create. From here, we're clicking Conversions, right? From here, you select your daily budget. I don't know whether I'm going to go over much of this other sort of stuff. It's obviously not lead generation because we're in the e-commerce space. Very rarely do I actually select split test. It's only really if I have, like as an example, if I have my target audience down pat, like I just know that they care about this product, whether they're a cold audience or a warm retargeting audience, doesn't matter, then I might start to muck around with different lookalike audiences. Now, some lookalike audiences can actually overlap. As an example, someone who has engaged with your Facebook page has a high chance of engaging with your Instagram page. And if you have a lookalike of both of those audiences, there's a chance of overlap. And so you would use a split test function to test those two lookalike audiences independently without overlapping. Because if they're in the same campaign, especially as a campaign budget optimization, this, whatever your daily budget is, as an example, $20 a day, is just going to feed into one of whichever lookalike is getting you the most purchases at the end of the day, which is a good thing, but you're not getting a true test, is what I'm getting at here. So just put that technicality and that technological speak to the left-hand side here for a second, and let's move right along. So this is your daily budget. I leave this at lowest cost to start with most of the time, and then we will click continue. So right here you get to choose a conversion event, and the custom conversion that you created, or the one that's automatically populated when you put your Facebook pixel on your Shopify website or your WooCommerce website or even your Weebly website, everything in here, all of your conversion events come up here. And you'll know they're working when they're green. They should be green before you actually select them, so you want to make sure they're firing properly, right? As an example, if we go to the YummyRum website, there is this wonderful tool. You can't see it because it's out of the shot. There's a wonderful tool, and it's called Facebook Pixel Helper. This is it. And you can see here, here's the pixel ID, so we know it's the right one. You can see right now, because I've hit the page, I've fired what's called a page view event, right? If I click shop now, it's going to fire another one. No, it's not. It's still page view. If I go add to cart, now it's going to fire the add to cart one, right? This one right there. If I then go to checkout, page view, checkout, that one, sorry, and then it will initiate checkout. So we're getting all of these events firing. So whatever event you optimize for, see, initiate checkout. If I go through this whole process and buy this bottle of rum, it's going to trigger a purchase event, which is what we are optimizing for here, okay? Now, just a side note here, if you guys, as someone out there, if you're watching this and you are just starting an e-commerce store, I would test, whatever you can spend to start with on a daily budget for 3 days at least on a purchase event to see if you get any, purchases. If that doesn't happen within 3 days, then I would step down the funnel. I would step down to a lower tier event. The one that comes before purchase is initiate checkout. The one that comes before initiate checkout is add to cart. The one that comes before add to cart is view content or page view, whichever one you want to choose really. So I would keep moving down every 3 days until you start to get enough data. And the reason I say that is there's kind of this magical number 50 where you need at least 50 of these events for the algorithm to actually start optimizing for the event that you want to achieve, like purchases. If you're not getting 50 purchases in a week, then we're told by our Facebook reps over in Singapore to optimize for a lower tier event, like get 50 initiate checkouts, get 50 add to cart, blah, blah, blah. And then as you start to get those events, you naturally, through a game of numbers, obviously the more add to carts and initiate checkouts you get, the more purchases you're going to get, because no one's spending their time doing that without actually intending on purchasing, right? Then you can start to move back up to these higher tier events. So 50 is the number you're looking for. So we're going to choose purchase to start with, because I think you all should. And then we get to select our audiences. So all of this stuff in here, there's this wonderful thing in here called dynamic creative. I think for this demonstration, I'll leave that out. I'm just going to show you how to set up 3 ads and test 3 audiences. Very simple structure. In here, you can select your custom audiences, which I'm going to go into a little bit later when I talk about retargeting audiences. But if you have a lookalike audience, like a lookalike of all purchases, a lookalike of all add to carts past 30 days, a lookalike of people who have engaged with a Facebook page, so on and so forth, that lookalike would go there. There's another video on lookalikes and custom audiences, by the way, so let me know if you want that, and I shall send it to you for free for your viewing pleasure. You'd also select, obviously, the country that you want to be advertising in, or, for example, the city that you want to be advertising in. So we go Sydney, New South Wales. Here you'll see 40 kilometers, I think is the default setting, or whatever it is in miles, depending on what your ad account is set up. If you click this drop down, then you've got a slider which you can slide right down to 17 kilometers. You can actually go, if you click drop pin here, you drop a pin, you can actually go right down to 1 kilometer radius. But I don't recommend anyone advertising any smaller than about 17 kilometers. At the end of the day, if you're e-commerce, you're online, you have the ability to ship your products to someone's doorstep right across the country, right across Australia, right across the globe, then that's where your audience should be at the end of the day. So I think as a minimum starting point, you should be fairly comfortable advertising across Australia. So we're going to start there. 18 million people. I think for starting out, unless you are 100% certain, right? Maternity wear, obviously, women who are pregnant, that's going to be 100% women most of the time. I shouldn't say 100%, 99.9% of the time. It's probably going to be women. And in which case, in this detailed targeting box, if you are not using a lookalike, I don't use lookalikes and interests at the same time most of the time. So we would go something in here like pregnancy, if I could spell pregnancy. Right there. And so obviously that's a very, very obvious gender selection that we should be optimizing for. Now, if you are not 100% certain that, or if you aren't at least majority certain that a particular age group or a particular gender are the buying customers of your product, and I mean like with nearly full certainty, then leave these open. What's going to happen is as you get more purchases and add to carts and initiate checkouts, the algorithm is automatically going to take this into account and start to show your ads to the age range and the gender that is getting you the most purchases in this case, okay? And then here within detailed targeting, right, you select your interest. So I think we'll stick on, I might actually try this, pregnancy. I probably shouldn't try pregnancy because, pregnant women shouldn't actually be drinking. So maybe I won't do that. But what I'm getting at here is really just selecting interests that make sense. Now, it can be really attractive to throw a whole bunch of interests in here. I want you to not do that. I want you to only bunch together interests that are somewhat similar. So I guess as an example, let's go people who are interested in business. That does not belong with people who are interested in celebrities, okay? They are quite different interests, okay? Those are quite different pieces of content that people are essentially consuming. So celebrity, there might be people who look at, well, celebrities, influencers, Kim Kardashian, everything else in between. Whereas business might be people reading articles in entrepreneur.com, might be, people following marketing gurus and everything else in between. So they're not relevant. They're not even in the same ballpark. So don't bunch those together. Just put stuff that's somewhat similar. So someone who's interested in business is pretty closely linked to be interested in marketing, as an example. Like that has an affinity towards each other, okay? So bunch together relevant interests. Don't put left field ones together. Moving right along, we'd select an interest. Automatic placements, I leave them on automatic placements. This is where your ad is placed across all of the placements that Facebook has access to. So just as an example, if I go edit placements, you'll see them all. You'll see Facebook, Audience Network, Instagram, Facebook Messenger. You can see there we've got Facebook Newsfeed, Instagram Newsfeed, Facebook Marketplace, Video Views, blah, 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 Stories, in-stream videos, the lot. What I would recommend, you click automatic placements, just let the algorithm decide where to place your ad to get you the most purchases, or initiate checkouts, or add to carts, or view content or page views, okay? That's worked pretty darn well so far. Continue on that. And this is where we get a little bit creative. So just double check the identity of the ads you're creating. Make sure you've got the right page. Make sure that you've got the right Instagram page as well. If you don't have an Instagram page, it won't show up here. And what you can do is just leave it on use selected page. And what will happen is it'll just direct everyone back to the Facebook page if they interact with that ad on Instagram. So it's still going to get shown on Instagram and other partner websites as well, okay? So then you can select all wonderful things like carousels. I'm sure you've all seen carousels before. It's like sequentially a bunch of images side by side or a bunch of videos side by side, or a single image or video. That's what I'm going to use for this demonstration. That's where I'd recommend you all start as well. Or a collection if you've got a buttload of products that you want to put in front of a whole bunch of people. So for this one, single image is just fine. Let's go ahead and use an image here. That one will do. Then you've got your primary text. I'm going to leave that up to you as to what you're going to write into your primary text. That comes up above the ad, as you can see. Then we've got our headline, which comes up just there. Then we have the website URL. So whatever part of your website you want people to go to consider buying your product online on your e-commerce website, that is the address and that is the URL that you place in here. Okay. Call to action, I think online e-commerce, shop now, always works pretty darn well. So that comes up there. And as you go down, required field is missing, the link field is missing. So that means I have to put a link in here. So let's go ahead and throw that one in there. And Bob is your uncle. So that's essentially how easy it is to create your first purchase conversions ad for an online e-commerce store. So I'm going to go confirm on that. Just give that a second to do its thing. Okay, so what happens from now is you get pushed back to the campaign level, and you can see here it's in review. So it's not going to run yet, but it's in the review process. So hopefully, your ads get approved. Wonderful. If they don't, then you need to look at the error message and overcome whatever error message is going on and why you got disapproved from there. Now, quick one. If you don't want this to run yet, if you just want to leave it here, let it get approved, but don't let it run, then you need to select this blue toggle. You click that and it's going to pause it and it's going to fall below your last blue toggle here. So if I do that, it's going to fall just below this other one we've got running here. But what I want to show you real quick is a very simple way to duplicate the ad that we've created to get another 2 variations, and then duplicate the ad sets and move those ads across as well. Because I think you should all know, if you don't know already or if you haven't been following me for any length of time, is you need to be testing. You need to be testing more than one ad, and you need to be testing that ad against more than one audience, because unless you are 100% certain, you have no idea whether anyone gives a shit about your ad. You really, really don't. So you need to do yourself a massive favor and put more fishing poles in the pond, so to speak, to have a better chance of catching a fish. Simple as that. So what you'll do is you will click on the campaign name here. Then it will take you down to the ad set level. The ad set level, in my opinion, should be called audiences, because that's all that really changes here. So then we click on the ad set name, and now we're at the ad level. This is where our ads are created. This is where we can see our ads. All you'll do is hover over here, just below the name of the ad itself, and you'll click duplicate. From here, we want at least another 2 copies. If you're really keen, and if you really want to, I think you should have a total of 5. But just to get things moving, I think 3 is fine as a minimum. You just click this little arrow over here, and it's going to minimize that. And now you'll see that we have a total of 3 ads in here. Now, just take note of what's going on in this delivery column. In review means it's in review, it's getting published. In draft means that it's not, essentially. So these are the copies, obviously, because they say copy next to the ads themselves. So a couple of things to think about. You just need to change something up, really. You really have no idea which one's going to work well until you truly throw some money behind it and throw it out there into Facebook land and let the algorithm and these human beings on their mobile devices decide which one is best. So change anything from the matter of a different image, different videos. Instead of using a single image, use a single video. Instead of using a single video, maybe use a carousel, a whole manner of different things, and definitely change up the copy, change up the text. So what that would look like is you'll hover over one of these ones, you'll just click edit, and you'll scroll down to where you can see primary text again, and you'll just change your primary text up. Write something a little bit different, write something a little bit more emotionally connected to your audience to get them to emotionally invest in your product. More or less, if you want some, feedback about your copy and your text, by all means send it to me. I'll give you a bit of feedback where I can and where I can get a bit of time as well. But just a quick tip here is really to focus on the emotional benefits. Whether it's something that gives them convenience and therefore more time in their day-to-day life is what people are asking for, or whether it's going to help them make bank, if it's going to truly help them, increase their overall wealth, then put something like that in there. Just be wary when you use certain key terms like I can make you more money, you're probably going to get disapproved. So you need to be creative with the way that you phrase those sort of things. But again, just more so formulate an emotional connection to your product and portraying that into your in front of your prospective customers is probably the best way I'd put it. And you can change headlines and all manner of wonderful things, but just change something more than anything. So you go through that, you do that on this variation, you go through and do it on this variation. I wonder why that wasn't approved. Look at that. Or maybe it's not even gone through properly. I don't even think it's gone through properly. There might be a lesson here I can show you guys real quick. Nope, I have no idea. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's assume that we have changed some images up, used different videos, put some different copy in all of these different ads. We have 3 different ads in this ad set. What you'll do then is you will, up here, we're on the ad level. If we go to the left on this tab, now we're back at the ad set level. This is where our audiences are. What you'll do, very similarly, is you will hover over it and you'll click duplicate. Click another 2 variations, another 2 copies of that ad set, click duplicate. Just click that little arrow and get away from it. Untick these boxes. And now we've got another 2 variations of audiences to test. So now you can go in here and muck around with different lookalike audiences if you want. You can go in here and select different targeting and interest selection. So the first one might have had business. This one could have celebrities. The next one could have whatever. Just put something in there that kind of makes sense with the targeting side of things. And then you click publish on all of those. And essentially the reason that we wanted to duplicate and get more variations of the ads first is so that when we duplicated these ad sets, it pulled across, if I click on this, it pulled across the ads as well, okay? The reason it's showing a stack of them is because they're all in draft. Like, it's so annoying how it does that, but it is what it is. When we go through and publish the whole thing, which I'll show you now, then it will just have the 3 that we've created in there. So what you do, very similarly, is we'll now take note of what tab we're on the ad set level. Just go back to the campaign level, click that tab, and we will click on the tick box next to the campaign we've just created, and we'll click review and publish on that one. And publish, let that push it through. Cool, so that is all in review. So if we click on the campaign name again, you can see all of those ad sets are in review. We click on the ad set name, and now we've got all 3 of these ads in review. One's been not approved. I have no idea why. Stranger things have happened on Facebook. And fantastic. So that will go through the review process. Hopefully it gets approved. Probably won't for whatever reason, actually. And Bob's your uncle. That is the first cold prospecting campaign. So this is one that's going out to people who've never heard of your brand before, more often than not. Now what I want to show you how to set up is pretty darn similar, but is a retargeting campaign. And what we're going to retarget, we just want to retarget people who have hit your website. You need to understand that if someone goes from a Facebook ad to your website, they've somewhat figuratively raised their hand to say that I'm interested in the product that you're providing. Maybe it's not the right price for them at this point in time, in which case add more value or offer them, a promotion, whatever you want to do with it from there. So a very simple way to do a retargeting campaign is to duplicate your current campaign. So not too dissimilar from what we've just done before, is you just hover over the campaign that we've created. We'll click duplicate. It's going to be the same type of conversion campaign. So we're still asking Facebook, hey, can you find people who are most likely to purchase, or can you just make sure you optimize our ads for purchases? We'll click publish on that one straight away. And we'll click that little arrow and minimize it again. And now our copied campaign is also in the review process. All you really need to change is obviously the ads. You don't want to really put the same ads back in front of people. So all you'll do is you click on the campaign name. You'll click on the ad set that you want to change. It only really needs to be one. and you'll go through and you change these ads up. I want you to think about why someone may have not purchased on the first. Well, it's very, it's one of those things, unless it's a Black Friday sale, it's somewhat unlikely from the vast majority that someone's going to purchase with you on the first touch point, on the first time they see you. If you're lucky enough to have that sort of product and that awesome product to market fit, then fantastic, you can run those numbers all day long. But I really want you to think about why someone hasn't purchased on that first touch point. What sort of obstacles or barriers might they have in front of them? Do you need to put testimonials and reviews back in front of them? In which case, take some videos of happy customers with your products and genuinely ask for them. Or perhaps take pictures of your reviews on Google or on Facebook and put them in somewhere within the images. Hopefully it's not too much text, but really expand on the reasons as to why they haven't purchased and try and lower some of that buyer's resistance by incorporating that into your ads. So it's no different. You just go in here, you edit these ads, you go and you put some different images in there, you go and you'll obviously put some different text, some different headlines, and that's probably enough. Maybe even a couple of different videos that are educational or entertaining or inspiring in nature. Those are the three main content types that are usually used for, well, all ads, not just retargeting ads. And then as we come back, right, we're now going back to the ad set level. We don't need these other ones, but we're just going to leave them there. Actually, to delete ad sets, click those two, click the tick box of the ad set that you don't want, or the ad that you don't want, or the campaign that you don't want, whichever one it is. Click the two tick boxes and then hit delete, the recycle bin, and it will get rid of those ad sets for you. And they're gone. Now, to make this a retargeting campaign, you need to have a custom audience. So the one that I recommend you go for is a custom audience of people who have been to your website. You might also, as well actually, use a custom audience of people who have engaged with your Facebook page the past 120 days, or the past 7 days, or the past 14 days. Just really quickly, we need to acknowledge right now that someone who hasn't engaged with the page for 120 days is very different to someone who hasn't engaged with the page, or the website I should say, for the past 7 days. That's a warmer prospective customer, in my opinion. So take that into account. Those are the different custom audiences that you can create. If you'd like to learn how to make different custom audiences, reach out to me, send me a goddamn message, and I'll just send you another YouTube video that shows you how to create all of these custom audiences, because otherwise this video is going to go for too long. You're going to get too overwhelmed. But real quick, where you'll find audiences and where you'll be able to create them is go up here to these three white lines, go over to audiences, and you will drop down to this screen. This is where you create audiences. Well, that's a lie. This is where you create audiences. Then you go create audience, custom audience, website. Everyone has been to your website in, say, like the past 120 days, and you will go, just name whatever you want. I usually just go 120 WSV, website visitors, and click create audience. I'm not going to do it now. And then you need to incorporate that into the ad set. So just to reiterate what we're doing here, we have one campaign, conversions campaign, optimizing for purchases, going out to the wonderful interests and audiences that we selected earlier with all three ads in each one of those audiences, right? Then we've got our retargeting audience, or campaign I should say. We click on that, we go down to the ad set level, we're going to click edit on that ad set, and we're going to scroll down to this point here, custom audiences, and all you need to do is click it, custom audience, and find your website visitors. I'm just going to use this one as an example. Website visitors the past 7 days. Leave everything open, even gender. Leave the age open, leave the gender open. Don't put any detailed targeting there. This is only targeting people who have hit your website or hit your Facebook page or hit your Instagram page in the past however many days that you specified. Then you would click publish on that campaign. Minimize that again. And hey presto, Bob's your uncle. So we have a cold campaign that is going out to people who have never heard of you before via the use of selecting different interests. And we have got 3 different audiences that we are testing minimum. And within each 3 of those audiences, we have 3 different ads that we are testing also. Come back to the campaign level. We click on our retargeting campaign. We should probably label that retargeting campaign, or just, RT, so that you can determine the difference between the two. If we click on that campaign level, we drop down, we only have one ad set because we only need one ad set as a retargeting campaign to start with. And these are our website visitors of the past however many days you want to specify, probably at least 120 days. And then as we drop down, we click on that ad set name, we drop down to the ad level, test at least 3 variations of ads here as well, and think about some of the reasons why someone hasn't purchased or at least inquired with you on that first touch point of going to your website, and think about ways that you can craft ads to lower that resistance and increase that conversion, increase that chance that they will actually purchase with you in the very near future. Okay. All right, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in for nearly 30 minutes right here. I hope this has been really helpful for you. This is probably going to come across really overwhelming. It doesn't need to be. This is a new skill that you're trying to learn, just like riding a bike. It's just going to take repetition. If you do need help, if you'd like to book a free call, please reach out. Happy to talk you through some of this sort of stuff, and I'll talk to you then. Okay? Have a wonderful day. See you later.